I bought a Marvel Collector's Dream unit. Now let's see what's inside.
What is up, everyone? I hope you all are doing well today. In today's storage unit video, we will be going through this storage unit that I purchased for $160. I was honestly kind of surprised I got this one for so cheap. Let me go ahead and take you inside and show you why I purchased this unit.
We got a bunch of boxes and tubs. We got a bat right there. Looks like maybe a couple of BB guns back there. A jumbo Funko Pop. I believe a PlayStation controller down there. At least the deck of the skateboard right there. It looks like a pretty nice one too. A guitar. Looks like some pretty new comic books right there. All right, let's go ahead and start digging through these boxes. Unfortunately, this first box, just a bunch of like old blankets and a few pairs of clothes. All right, now on to some of the good stuff from this unit. I don't know how new this is. It's in pretty good shape though. This Red Ryder Daisy BB gun is the 1938B model. Should be able to get like 20 bucks for this. And then here's a 760 Pumpmaster BB gun. This one's not in quite as good a shape as the other. I should be able to get like 10 bucks for this. And I do think these are a little cheaper than the other. And then here's an amp worth a softball bat. Boy, if I had a little more room in this unit, I would show y'all one of the sweetest swings from the right side of the plate. But unfortunately, I don't have enough room in here for that. But just pretty much imagine like Pool Host hitting that bomb against Brad Lidge.
Oh, on to Pool. In the air, left field, and Pujols is giving St. Louis the lead.
But cool bat, probably worth, I don't think these are crazy expensive. You will need a new tape job though. But other than that, it's in pretty good shape. I could get like 25 bucks for this. We have a ton of Funkos and other Marvel memorabilia in here. It all looks like it's still in its original packaging as well. That is awesome. Let's go ahead and clear this box out of the way first. So this box is just trash though. Get these cardboard boxes out of the way. I don't know if y'all just saw that. I almost just ate it though. But before we go through these other boxes, let me show off some of the bigger items. Here's an Adam Levine designer guitar. It is missing a few strings. This one should clean up rather nicely, and someone can obviously restring the guitar. I do need to learn how to play guitar, because I kind of want to, honestly. But also, it would be pretty sweet every time I find one of these guitars, I just do a little ditty for y'all. Pause, no ditty, but, you know, just play a little song like, yo, sweet. Fun fact of the day, Maroon 5 was originally funded by Larry Fink of BlackRock. BlackRock, the hedge fund that literally owns, like, every single company on the stock market. Kind of wild that an investment firm would be funding an entertainment group or a music group like Maroon 5, but that's just a little fun fact of the day. If I was guessing, it's probably going to be closer to like 5 to 10 bucks for that. Oh, this is a really cool blind skateboard deck. I was never a huge skateboarder. Anything with wheels on it, my mom was not a fan of me doing it as a child, so I don't know how to skateboard really. I am a mean tech decker, the little mini finger skateboard. Borderline almost went pro in middle school on those. But my mom always thought since I was a big boy, anytime I tried like skateboarding or ice skating or roller skating, I'd slip, fall, break my arm. So I was more of a landman growing up. Still kind of more of a landman as I get older, but this is a sweet skateboard. Should be able to get like 25 bucks for it. That is it on like all the bigger stuff. Let's go ahead and come on in and go through some of these boxes and tubs. We'll go through this container next. Oh, we got a, bummer. That would have been cool. Lego Speed Champions Lotus, unfortunately, not in there. But we do have some really cool Marvel Hallmark ornaments. There's Captain America. That'll definitely be resellable. I think we got several of them. There's a Black Panther. We got Spider-Man maybe? Nope. Loki next. Oh, there he is. There's Miles Morales. There's Spider-Man. That's pretty sweet. I'm definitely assuming these are going to be resellable. I'd imagine like that Loki's probably worth like $5. Then the other three are probably going to be worth like 10 to 20 bucks if I was guessing. I'm a sucker anytime I see like Marvel stuff in the storage unit because I'm out here looking for sports cards and other trading cards. I haven't really seen any yet, but this at least keeps my hopes up that there could be some other ones. That's a pretty cool, is that a sticker? Yeah, Marvel Anniversary sticker right there. Not sure if that has really much value to it, but we will have to wait and see. I'm assuming that is just junk jewelry, but I don't think that's gonna be worth a whole lot. If anything, I think it's probably just gonna be trash. Dude, that's really cool. Custom 2018 Ford Mustang GT. I don't know if y'all bought Hot Wheels recently, but I remember back in the day, I think they were like 79 cents per Hot Wheel whenever I was a kid growing up. And I went and got some for my son for Christmas. And I want to say they were like starting at like $4.99. I could not believe it, but
Isn't that kind of the story with everything in life these days? Boy, has everything gotten so expensive. Who is Crimson? I've never heard of him. Maybe he's popular, I'm not really sure. Since these are all Marvel movies, I'm kind of assuming I should be able to make like $2 a piece on those. Here's an Iron Man minifigure. I am not by any means big into Legos, but it is unbelievable what some of these minifigures can do. I'm talking like hundreds of dollars, some over $1,000. It is truly crazy. Hopefully that's one of the very valuable ones. That'd be awesome. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Oh, gotta watch out for the spiders. That is for sure. There's a little set of dominoes right there. Oh, what is this? Sinister Strange from the Doctor Strange multiverse. This bag's labeled Star Wars Funko Pop Advent Calendar from 2022. Like I said, just bags full of open Legos. Little vehicle of some sort with Iron Man in it. And is that Loki, maybe? Spider-Man watch. That's cool. It's like a special edition Avengers playing card set. It still has its seal. Here's a couple minifigures. There's Captain America, and then I'm not sure who that is, but a couple of minifigures right there. What I'll probably do with all the Legos, anything that's just loose, I'll probably just throw into one container and just sell it as a whole lot. Whenever I've done that in the past, they've typically done really, really well. So that's the plan for all the loose Legos. Some old vintage Star Wars or superhero shirts, it looks like. These do typically pretty well. The sarcasm is strong with this one. I'm not sure how well this will do, but classic. An all-time commercial. Looks like a box full of mostly new tattoo gear and like ink and stuff. Never come across that before. Maybe that stuff does decent. Here's a cool Spider-Man puzzle right there, 500 piece. Nice. Oh, a couple of video games. Grand Theft Auto, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Are they in there? Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Alright, that's it on that container. I guess that was more of a laundry basket, not a container, but you get the point. Oh, what did I do? Oh, we got Marvel cards. More of these sticker cards from Marvel Anniversary. There's Thor. Nice. I have no idea, like I said, if those are worth anything at all. Here we go. And this is why we bought it, for stuff still in its original packaging. Here's a Legend series. Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, Marvel's Wong. I feel like stuff like this, still in its original packaging, on the low end will get you like 10 to 15 bucks. And obviously on the high end, can be worth hundreds of dollars. If I was guessing something like this, it's probably gonna be closer to that $10 mark than the 100, but we can always hope. Here we go. Legacy Collection, Black Panther. I bet that's gonna be worth a little bit of money. Black Panther super collectible. Nice. More of these Hallmark ornaments. Star-Lord and Groot. I am hit and miss on what I've seen in the Marvel catalog outside of Spider-Man. I've seen pretty much all of them, I think, outside of the most recent one. But I have heard great things about Baby Groot. Ton of these stickers, though. I'm hoping those are worth something. Here's a Uno Ultimate Marvel card. Oh, that's cool. Little Donald Duck right there. And Avengers. That one's like the red foil. Kind of like that Daredevil card. Is that a bookmark of Daredevil, maybe? Maybe it's like a bigger thing that you can hang up. You gotta buy it piece by piece, I guess. There's Groot again. That one's out of its package, though. There's Spider-Man ornament. Very cool piece right here. I'm assuming this is gonna be fairly resellable. Is that the original Batmobile, maybe? Either way, that thing is sweet. It's probably my favorite Lego piece I've ever come across here on the channel. By the way, big Spider-Man fan, big Batman fan. Oh my, that is adorable. Little mini R2-D2. We've got a ton in here. It is crazy. We should be able to pay off this unit plus some just in the Funko Pops. I will say the Funko Pop craze has died down a little bit. Kind of like cards back in the 90s. I think they just overproduced and overmanufactured a lot of the Funko Pops. The one downside to the like standard Funko Pop size, they're just so big. They just take up a lot of space. But there's a Cersei keychain Funko, a Wong keychain Funko. I'm hoping some of these are fairly rare, some of these kind of side characters. There's Korg. Was he the villain in one of the Thor movies? And then just a standard Hallmark ornament, Spider-Man. There's Black Panther. There we go. This box will more than pay for this entire unit. And we still have another massive box of Funkos to go through down there. Sinister Strange. There's Kang. That's cool. Kid Loki. The Funko Pop market has come down quite a bit since its peak, but the Marvel ones still do fairly well. I would say on the low end for Marvel Funkos, you're going to get like $5. And then kind of the average, I would assume out of these, I'll be able to get like 10 to 15 bucks for. Vona Renslayer, I think. is how you pronounce it. Well, that's cool. One MODOK. And then Zombie MODOK, or something like that, however you pronounce that. That's for an Ant-Man. And then we've got Loki, see a businessman there, Mobius. Last but not least, in this box are the big Funkos, Defender Strange. We still have a couple of these keychains in here, Black Panther, and then Rintra or something like that. Another Groot ornament. There's a Lego Pokeball, one of the best bad guys of all time. There's a little mini Darth Vader. All right, I do want to finish this unit up today, and I am kind of running low on time, but we'll show off the rest of the cards and the Funko Pops once we get back home. I want to go through the rest of the boxes while we still have some light. All right, I just wanted to show off a couple more things here in the back of the unit. Here's a pair of Ariat work boots. They're not in the best shape, but I should be able to clean those up fairly nicely, and I think I should be able to get like 20 bucks for those. And then the last couple things we're going to go through here in the unit is an Infinity Killmonger Jumbo Funko Pop. Looks like whenever this was bought, they paid 23 bucks for it, so maybe I can get somewhere around that for it. I'm not exactly sure. I have not seen many of these Jumbo Funkos and what they go for, but hopefully we can get that. We'll see. And we got a few comics. This is a variant edition of Spider-Man Unforgiven, still in its original wrapper. I guess all of these are still in its wrapper. There's Daredevil, and then the variant edition of Murder World, whatever that is. This has got to be worth something serious to anyone who's married to a Marvel nerd. I might have to just gift this to my sister for Christmas so she can understand half of what her husband's saying whenever it pertains to Marvel stuff. I do have to finish up cleaning up this unit and get back home, so whatever we've missed, we'll go through once we get back home. So I'll see you there in just one sec. All right, so I finally made it back after cleaning up that storage unit. So let's go ahead and go through all of the stuff that we didn't have a chance to go through in the unit. First up, we've got the best Super Smash Bros. Character, Kirby. I will say, though, Kirby was so good, it was almost unfair. Super Smash on 64 is about as good as it gets as far as video games are concerned. That is still the best game in that whole series, and it still holds up to this day. Just a fantastic video game. There was another one of these Star Wars little stuffed characters until my dog thought it was a chew toy. Thanks, Oliver. That being said, thankfully, I don't think it was worth a whole lot. So not the end of the world, but we've got a ton of cool stuff that I want to go through real quick. We've got Marvel Uno Ultimate. I guess just a bunch of Marvel cards in there for Uno, but I'm assuming that should be resellable. I don't think that's going to be worth a ton, though. We got a couple of books. Here's a Spider-Man Far From Home. There's a price tag. It was only $9.99. And I will say the unfortunate part with a lot of this stuff, I don't think it's going to be crazy valuable because it's not very old and they're not like special editions, I don't think. Outside of maybe some of the comics that were like the variant issues. But there's Avengers Endgame. That's from 22, I think, as well. No, I'm sorry. That one's from 2021. And I think what I'm going to do to sell a lot of this stuff is just kind of lot it together. I won't sell it all together. I just don't feel like I'll make as much money that way. But I'll probably piece it together with like the action figures like this Agent Jimmy Woo from WandaVision and bundle it with this classic Loki. And then maybe some other stuff that we've already gone through in the unit that all kind of ties together. Because for instance, I think both of these by themselves are in like the maybe $8 to $15 range, somewhere in there. Just not crazy valuable. And I will say, a lot of this stuff is hard to ship. So I'm probably going to be best just finding a local buyer like on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. Here's a great character from Spider-Man. His buddy Ned. It's from No Way Home. He does have a cape on, but I don't know if that one's super valuable or not. I don't know about these Funko Pops. I haven't had a chance to look them all up. But the ones I've seen so far, I think they are pretty standard. I don't think they're anything crazy. So just like those figures, I'll just lot them together and sell them in groups. Because honestly, most Funko Pops that I've come across are worth about $5 to $10. So say they're all worth like 10 bucks. I'd rather sell a group at 10 for like 50 or 60 bucks than sell 10 individually. I just rather move through the lower end stuff as quickly as possible. But that's a cool Ned. Here's another one. His other buddy, MJ from No Way Home. She's got a flashlight, it looks like. But that's a cool one. And then I think the man himself, the man himself, Spider-Man. That's actually a pretty cool one right there with the integrated suit, it says. And then there's Doc Ock from No Way Home as well. A ton of Spider-Man stuff in here. Probably, I'd say the most prevalent of any of the characters. This one may be worth something. This Iron Spider-Man from Avengers Endgame. Not 100% sure, but that one is pretty sweet. And one of my favorite villains from any of the Spider-Mans, the original Green Goblin. What a great villain. That's the Green Goblin from No Way Home. Then we got the Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange. Like I said, I'm thinking most of these are going to be worth about $5 to $10 individually. Lucha Libre edition, El Arachno, something like that. Then here's just the next thing on this tub. Marvel Iron Man Boys Cologne. I can't imagine that being worth a whole lot. Unless it's super rare, which I'm just doubting it is. Here's another really cool thing. I do think I'll sell this individually. I'm assuming this one's got to be worth 25 to 30 bucks. This is a Walmart exclusive. Gingerbread, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and Thor. This one is definitely my favorite one so far. We've got a Hasbro Gaming X-Men handheld game. I thought that was going to be a more vintage game. But like I said, everything is fairly new from this unit. And is this a special edition Spider-Man? 80-year anniversary Spider-Man? Maybe that'll be worth a little bit more than $5, hopefully. Who doesn't like Spider-Man? There's a Marvel Spider-Man edition of Something Wild, the card game. Pretty sweet. Alrighty, now let's go through this tub next. There's Iron Fist. There's a Star Wars variant edition. And once again, none of these things are very old. From my understanding, they got to be pretty rare for modern comics to be worth much. At least these are the variant editions. There's another Moon Knight. I am kind of thinking this Silk variant edition may be worth something. There's Deadpool Timequake. There's Avengers variant edition Shang-Chi. Pretty cool. Kazar variant edition. I think this one's a little bit older. Sergeant Fury. Yeah, from 1981. It looks like some of these may be a little bit older. X-Factor. Eclipso. The Darkness Within. I thought comics were made for children. I mean, come on, guys. Come on, DC. Shadow of the Bat collector's set. That's pretty cool. Part 1 of 4. Nice. A bunch of these sticker cards. I don't know if we necessarily need to go through all of those, but we'll go through these Funko Pops real quick. There's a holiday special group. Rick from Rick and Morty. Oh, that is a Funko exclusive. I'm not seeing any of the special stickers really on any of these, which kind of gives you an indication if they're rare and valuable. But Agatha Harkness, America Chavez from Doctor Strange, Master Mordo, also from Doctor Strange, Sylvie from Loki. I have not seen many of these Marvel movies. I will say, hand up, not the biggest superhero guy, to be completely honest. I was more of a sports kid growing up. Captain Carter. There's a Walgreens exclusive Bishop. Nice. There's Drax. Holiday Special. Queen General. Rwanda. What If? Oh, this one's sweet. There's Captain America. Target exclusive. What do we have here? This is actually kind of heavy. That is sweet. Mug and Pin. Star-Lord and Rocket. That's pretty cool. Here's another Walmart exclusive. Athena from the Eternals. Oh, it's a DIY. I thought this was going to be like a super special edition Hulk. It is a Walmart exclusive. Maybe it is pretty rare, hopefully, but not as rare as I was thinking whenever I originally saw that. President Loki. I'm going to have my hands full selling all of these Funkos. That's pretty cool. Ant-Man right there. And then last but not least, Gingerbread Captain Marvel. Nice. Well, that was a lot of fun going through all of those, and we do have a few Legos and other like things in there. Wait, what is this one? Is that a Darth Maul minifigure? That is awesome. Another all-time great villain. But all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. That one was a ton of fun. One of my favorite units of all time. But I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Stay radical.